Tonight's basketball game and an interesting diversion for him. We welcome Bill back to the broadcast once again this year. A big win tonight for Niagara, if they can pull it off, Bill, for the confidence level. The Niagara's coming off a tough game where they lost by 20 to a talented Long Island team. They feel they're better than UB, but as they've shown, they have to play well to beat this Bulls team.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Lou. This is for bragging rights in Western New York. UB went through, knocked off Niagara, knocked off St. Bonaventure, knocked off Canisius, and somebody's got to stop them.
Purple Eagles would like to end that run, and again, it was a tough loss for the Purple Eagles the first time around. And when you look for ways to turn that around this time, certainly UB had a big advantage that first game at the free throw line. 27 free throw attempts to just 11 for Niagara. Things will change here at the Gallagher Center, although UB has done a great job of drawing fouls from their opponents all year long.
Well, they have players like Rashawn Young and Mike Martino, and they do a great job of getting fouled and going to the foul line and cashing in, which is a big thing. But, you know, Niagara's got to keep them off the foul line. They can't let them stay close. That's the bottom line. If you let this team hang around and be close, they're going to beat you at the end.
UB averaging 20 made free throws a game so far this year. When you take a look at Niagara, one player who's looking to have a big game tonight who hasn't in the past against the University of Buffalo is Chris Watson. Why would Chris struggle against this type of team?
You never know. It's the way people play you. They may do something special to play him. You know, Chris is an outstanding player, and teams know that in order to beat Niagara, they got to step up and stop Chris Watson. So it's no secret, and I think that he's going to see that throughout the year, that more people are going to step up and try to stop him. So other people have got to step up, like Joberty and people like that have got to come along and do things so that Chris can get open. Because if you're a one-man team, it isn't going to work.
Chris Watson will be looking to break out tonight against UB. On the other side of the ball, one of the keys of the game for the Purple Eagles is to control one of those men that you mentioned. Rashawn Young had an outstanding performance, career high in points against Niagara the first meeting this year.
Well, Rashawn Young is a pure athlete. He didn't play last year due to injury, and he's a thoroughbred. He can play for just about anybody in the country. They have to control him. They can't let him get off. He's a great athlete, not a great outside shooter, but a great athlete, and he's their go-to guy.
Plays very big for his size as well, although he's not particularly tall, just 6'3" and 200 pounds. He does a lot of damage inside by getting good offensive position. Well, Jack Armstrong certainly remembers the overtime loss to the University of Buffalo, and he has some keys to this game to turn it around this time.
We didn't take care of the ball at crucial moments, and, you know, quite frankly, we didn't do a good enough job on Rashawn Young, but it still came down to one play. If we had defended that play a little bit better, you know, now Martino has a fully contested shot. If he makes that, God bless him. He had a semi-contested shot. It was a very tough shot he made. Nonetheless, they deserve to win that game. We're up against it. That's going to be a tough game coming off an LIU game. That's going to be very challenging.
One of the nagging problems Niagara had in the UB game, and in a couple of the games, Bill, has been the inability to hold leads because they've had some offensive lapses, and that hurt them before. What do they do to overcome that tonight?
Well, that's the problem that Niagara's had at the beginning of this year, is they've gotten up on teams. Robert Morris is another example, and they just haven't been able to hold it. And one of the keys tonight is to play 40 minutes, not 37 or 38. Jack has stressed that with him. You've got to play 40 minutes of basketball. And that's what happened against UB. They had the lead, they just couldn't hold it, and then everybody saw what happened. But they're going to have to concentrate. It's really a concentration thing. With a young team like Jack's got, you really don't want it to get out to a real big lead, because then people let down. They start to think that they're good, they're going to beat teams. You've got to dig in and play for 40 minutes. And as Jack always says, this is a war. And in war, you've got to play every minute, because if you don't, somebody's going to shoot you.
We've certainly covered the team defense to stop Martino and Young, who lit up Niagara the first time around. Final thing is take control of take care of the basketball. Niagara's probably going to see a lot more pressure from teams after teams watch the film of the Long Island game.
Well, one thing you've got to do to win basketball games is you got to have less turnovers than your opponent. And sure, an athletic team like Long Island gave Niagara fits with their press. They can't let that happen. And Martino's just the kind of guy that can get under your skin. He's like a gnat. He just bothers you and bothers you and bothers you. Steals here. He'll do all the unconventional things, and you can't let that bother you. You've got to stay poised. Again, young team, turn the ball over, leads to disaster.
Well, the recipe for Niagara: get revenge against UB tonight. We'll be back with the starting lineups and more from the Taps Gallagher Center right after this.
same as always. You watch my back while I run the wires.
They're making their move at the Grand Apartments. Close in.
We're back at the Taps Gallagher Center, and Bill, a lot less people squeeze themselves out of the stores than you would have expected to watch this basketball game tonight.
Well, I know this is the tough time of the year, but my gosh, this is a great game. I mean, the first game, it goes into overtime, 2 shots at the buzzer. I don't know why people don't come out to see this. It doesn't say much for Western New York and their basketball aficionados, but I think this is going to be a great game tonight.
There's the starting lineup for the University of Buffalo.
Tough starting lineup. You got Rashawn Young, who's just an excellent athlete. Mike Martino, he is just the kind of guy that kills you. You don't know what to do to stop him. He always seems to be able to get a shot off. He's tough. Bernard Wheeler, their point guard, quick, very, very quick, likes to create things for other players, but you got to watch him and you got to control him.
Leonard Tangashaka, not much of an offensive threat, but likes to try and block anything that comes down the lane. Here's the Purple Eagles starting lineup.
Well, you got Chris Watson, who's their go-to player. He's been off to a little bit of a slow start this year, but Chris is the player. I think the key to this whole game is Jeff O'Connor. Jeff has got to come out and got to hit some big shots to open the middle up for Chris Watson and Hassan Abdullah, and also for Kevin Joberty. If he doesn't hit them, then they're just going to pack it in and say, go ahead and beat us from the outside.
You know, in the open, we talked about Chris Watson struggling against UB. He did have 12 points and 10 rebounds against UB in the opener, but that's been the story. He really hasn't scored near his usual average against the University of Buffalo.
No, he hasn't, and teams are keen on him, and that's the problem. But he's going to have to come up big tonight. It's a big ball game. He's on his home floor, and this is where you show everybody how good you are.
Jeff O'Connor in the first meeting did have 15 points, so that was a season high for him. Niagara leads this series 51-22, but that's a little bit of a misnomer as far as recent history goes.
Yeah, recent history has been tough. UB has played very, very well since they come back into the Division I level. Tim Cohane has just done an excellent job with that program, and it's a growing power in Western New York, and it's one that Niagara and Canisius and St. Bonaventure had better well be aware of.
Yeah, to put a number to that, Tim Cohane is 5-1 versus Niagara since taking over the coach at the University of Buffalo. There's Jack Armstrong in his 8th season at the helm of the Niagara Purple Eagles.
New father, Jack Armstrong.
That's right. Kevin, the young adopted son, was here the other night. Don't know if he's here tonight.
Now he's getting ready for Christmas.
Making out that list for Santa Claus. Game officials tonight include familiar faces. Mike Lonsky, Ron Foxcroft, and George Harry. 2 out of the 3 make regular appearances here to the Taps Gallagher Center.
Good officials. They've got some very good officials on this game. People that know both of these teams very well, so it should be a well-officiated ball game.
Getting ready to tip it off, UB in the blue. Niagara in the home white and purple. Tim Cohane, his 4th season at the University of Buffalo. And you take a look at the way he has developed that program in a hurry. It wasn't too long ago they were struggling to get wins below the Division I level, and all of a sudden last year they're 17-win season at Division I.
Well, he's in a conference that he can be very competitive in, and he's just done an excellent job of bringing people that were not highly touted athletes, but bringing them to UB and making them good players.
And they're going to be stepping up in conference in the not-too-distant future.
No, they're moving into the MAC, and that's a very, very tough conference, the Mid-American
Mid-American, right. UB will get the ball to start as the ball is tipped out of bounds on the opening. And they're going to adjust the possession arrow, make sure that's all set up.
Also, the shot clock is down 2 seconds.
Got to thank Tom Parada, NU assistant basketball coach, asking me if I could see this week. Well, I moved down to see.
It's awful nice here.
Couldn't see around in the first game, that's for sure. Niagara comes out and shows some zone defense on the first possession. Tangashaka trying to back in on Joberty and turns it over.
Tangashaka's not a real scoring threat for UB, although they're going to try to exploit it and get him inside and get Joberty in foul trouble. If they're weak inside.
Jeremiah Johnson brings it up against the man-to-man defense for the University of Buffalo.
Well, Johnson's going to have a tough time tonight because Wheeler is extremely quick and he's strong.
He gave Niagara fits in the games that I remember against UB last year, seeing him in person because of his strength and physical play. Niagara not very big in the backcourt, especially when they go with Johnson and Murphy back there. That'll be a physical mismatch. 5 on the shot clock. Johnson turns it over. Ball stolen by Rashawn Young. And Rashawn goes in and lays it, an air ball.
He was looking around to see where Johnson was, and he just laid it off the back of the glass, never hit the rim.
Both teams struggling here in the offense. Niagara didn't get a shot off its first possession. O'Connor hits it too.
And that's a big basket for Niagara. You gotta get Jeff O'Connor off quick.
UB moves it up quickly. Bernard Wheeler will pull it back out.
Wheeler's their spark plug player. He creates things for other people, tries to get the ball to Young, which he did right there.
Three-point attempt missed, but a second chance opportunity for the Bulls. A whistle and a foul. We'll go against the Purple Eagles.
I don't think he called the foul.
I thought he did. Okay, just knocked out of bounds.
Right.
I still can't see. I guess we're watching this end out of the monitor again.
He's just a big time product. He's just too big.
Used to be Jack would sit there, and he never sat down, so it was never a problem.
Right.
Penetration, a wild shot put up by Young, missed, and rebounded by Watson. And Niagara trying to spread the floor and create some room inside for Joberty and Watson. Keeping the guards out well high.
Well, they're running what they call their triangle offense, which will have Joberty, Hassan Abdullah, and Watson inside, and the 2 guards on the outside.
Abdullah gathers in a 3-point miss from O'Connor. Niagara gets a fresh shot clock and another opportunity, leading 2-0. 2.5 minutes into the ball game. Jeremiah Johnson penetrates, and we're going to get no basket, offensive foul.
Not a good decision by Jeremiah Johnson. Mike Martino was just standing straight there, and Jeremiah tried to go up and over him, but Martino drew the charge.
First personal and team foul against the Purple Eagles. Niagara staying in zone defense here. Martino gets a stepper on O'Connor. Gets help defense down low. Nice cut from Wheeler. Passed it to Tangashaka. Wasn't expecting it. He misses. Followed up. No good. And Joberty had it yanked out of his hands from behind by Robert Harris.
And Harris
stepped down the baseline.
UB looks a little confused against this zone defense. They're not sure where to go with the ball.
Zaid Alcott checks into the ball game for UB, replacing Tangashaka. He had a career-high 14 points in the last game against Morgan State. As you look at the series, and just as we cut away, that's when Harris stepped out of bounds. Teams are going to come out on Hassan Abdullah. He's been very hot from outside the three-point line so far this year. 8 of 14, 57%.
Hassan's a very, very good shooter from the three-point line, and you've got to respect that. You've got to come out and play him.
Now they try to post him up inside, and stepping around for the steal, Young. Young leads UB on a break. Ahead to Martino. Martino covered well by O'Connor and Johnson, and they have to slow things down. Martino goes inside to Alcott, and he gets 2. UB on the board with 16:37 left in the first half. A bucket aside. Pass off of Rashawn Young's hands and out of bounds. Niagara will inbound.
Both teams are struggling a little offensively. They can't get in the rhythm of the game yet.
Niagara's not been able to get Joberty free, and there they double down on him, almost turn it over. Now Watson on the blocks. No double team yet. That means he's going to go up. No, dishes off to Johnson. A three-point attempt is string music.
And that's what you got to do if you're going to get Chris Watson open. You got to hit from the outside. That was an excellent shot by Jeremiah Johnson, and good read by Chris Watson to get him the ball.
Well, he surprised me. Usually, if nobody doubles down, he's going up looking for the shot.
Well, they started to double, and that's why Jeremiah Johnson was so wide open.
Young, again, another wild shot. Watson rebounds. He is trying to force the action a little too much here in the early going.
Yeah, he is, and Chris was right there for the rebound.
Johnson to Abdullah. His three-point attempt is too long. Rebounded by Martino. Martino brings UB up court, takes it all the way himself.
That's when he's very, very tough.
Nobody rebounds. Outlets to Johnson. Niagara has a 4-on-1. Jeremiah Johnson to Abdullah, who gets two. 7-2 Niagara, 15-20 left in the first half.
That was a textbook fast break. Jeremiah Johnson did a very good job of drawing the defense to him, and then stitched the ball off to Hassan Abdullah, who put it in.
Three-pointer, no good. Long rebound. Jeremiah Johnson sends away Niagara, 3-on-3. O'Connor very closely guarded by Martino. They swing it around. Watson on the far side to Abdullah. Now down low to Jobity on the baseline, too. (9-2) Niagara. And UB has not solved the Purple Eagle zone.
No, they haven't. And Niagara's switching up their zone just a little bit. They're in a 1-3-1 right now. They're going from a 2-3 to a 1-3-1, and it's causing UB all kinds of problems.
O'Connor, an open look at three.
That's it. Timeout time for UB.
And we'll take a timeout as well. Niagara leads by 12. 14-22 left to go in the first half. This is Purple Eagles basketball on Adelphia Cable.
The holiday season is traditionally a time for families. Hi, I'm Joe Pelletier, asking you to join me in watching the special family message from a young serviceman away from home.
Hi, my name is Jerry Piper. I'm aboard the USS Enterprise in the Arabian Gulf. I just want to say happy holidays to my mom and my dad, my grandparents, my whole family, and Danielle. They're from Niagara Falls.
Well, that'll certainly get the crowd fired up.
Well,
a couple of three-pointers for Niagara, keying a 10-0 run.
I've been waiting for a long time to see Jeff O'Connor get off and shoot those threes. So if you can do that, you can just hit those shots. And Jeff just banged one down, as we just saw.
There are some keys for Niagara we talked about in the opening was certainly to get out there on Young and Martino on the three-point shot. UB forgot a key there. They didn't find Jeff O'Connor in transition. He had a wide-open look at that three.
Well, when you're wide open, and you know you're a player of Jeff O'Connor's stature, you got to be able to hit the open three. And tonight, so far, both he and Jeremiah Johnson can 2 threes. So Niagara's out to a 10-point lead, 12-2. And you know this is good and this is bad. You want to get a lead, but you get a lead too quick, then people start to relax. Kelvin Murphy just enters the game for Jeremiah Johnson.
O'Connor, by the way, second in the MAC in field goal percentage from the three-point line and out. This is 12th three-pointer of the game, and another good defensive stand for Niagara.
This is a great matchup, Murphy against Wheeler, because they are two of the quickest people I've ever seen.
Abdullah has it stripped by Young, his second steal. And into the ball game for UB, Nathan Johnson, a 6'9", 220-pound junior, trying to get some better inside play. Niagara going to man-to-man now. Switching up the defense, and we're going to get a foul on Calvin Murphy as Wheeler took him to the hole.
Now, Murph made a bad mistake there. He let him get around him on the right side. Instead of forcing him left, he let him go right. And Wheeler's just too quick and too strong to let him do that.
That's what Wheeler wants to do. If Niagara can get Wheeler shooting from the outside, that's what they prefer. He is best when driving and creating for himself and others. Completes a three-point play.
That's his game. He likes to penetrate and likes to dish it off.
Jobity comes out high, UB in man-to-man defense. Watson down inside. Takes his time, now gives off. Almost had lost it, actually. Abdullah, a three. Got a break there.
He sure did. That was a weak outlet by Watson, but he was right there to pick it up. Hassan just banged it home.
We talked about two people in the open, Watson and Rasan Young. Young with the ball now has been really trying to force things. That's his first bucket. Where Watson has been a lot more patient.
Chris has developed into a lot of patience the last couple years.
Nice move by O'Connor. Can't finish the play, though. A whistle, the ball out of bounds. Niagara will have it.
It was good hustle on Niagara's part, especially Chris Watson, to keep that ball alive.
Murph almost had it swatted away from Wheeler. UB comes out and defends. Boy, right beyond that three-point line, they're still out in your face. Watson across the handle. Wheeler collides with a Purple Eagle player who draws the foul. Let's make sure that...
That's Murphy. It's the second foul. We're going to have to get Jeremiah Johnson back in the game. 2 quick fouls for Calvin Murphy.
Yeah, they want to get back, though. UB, they get right in your face.
They play tough. They're strong, and they're quick, and they like to get in your face. They're not real big. You know, I mean, they're a pretty small team by Division I standards, but they just make your life miserable.
15-7 in favor of Niagara. 12:22 left to go in the first half. UB with the ball, working against another zone defense. Niagara back in the 1-3-1 here. Johnson almost takes it away from Martino. Martino gives off now to Wheeler. Nothing going. 8 on the shot clock. Martino a deep three. And a whistle on a push-off underneath.
They caught Chris Watson on a push, and it was not a smart foul. Not a smart foul at all. Not with 4 seconds left on the shot clock. You don't want to create a foul.
Matt Clemens comes in for UB. He takes out Bernard Wheeler. Time for another television timeout. 11:56 to go in the first half. Niagara leading UB 15-7. Back with more Purple Eagles basketball in a moment.
For Bob, when I need to touch base for dinner. For the kids, when they forget it's time to come home. For us, when the babysitter needs to get in touch.
This year, give them something they'll really use. Pagers from PageTime are reliable, inexpensive, and a gift they'll use over and over again. Call now to order a brand new Motorola Renegade pager for only $29.95. Local paging is less than $9 a month. Call PageTime today at 1-800-870-2220. Happy holidays from PageTime.
Back at the Taps Gallagher Center, Lou Panesso along with Bill Agrone, and Niagara leading by 8. But Bill, Niagara, which averages 77 points a game, is really playing this game at the pace UB wants it played at, even though they lead by 8.
Yeah, they are. They're not pushing the ball up the court. That's one of the reasons why Jack took out Jeremiah Johnson in the first half early in the game, because he wasn't pushing the ball up to where he wanted them to. But they'll get in here. They still got an 8-point lead. They just got to be careful now. They're getting themselves in foul trouble. Calvin Murphy has 2. Chris Watson just picked up what we consider not a good foul, a pretty poor foul. You know, you don't want to get your star players. You want to get you don't want to go into your bench real deep.
And UB, despite aggressive defense, has not committed a foul in this ball game. Nate Bernoski checks in. First action for him and the Purple Eagles tonight. UB inbounds to Clemens. There's a little size mismatch with Jeremiah Johnson as Niagara's in zone. Clemens at 6'4", Jeremiah at 6'1", but looks smaller.
Yeah, Clemens is your shooter. Clemens comes in the game, and what he wants to do is put the ball up right away.
Looking for a shot. Has not shot well yet this year. Really struggling. And there's a forced turnover. Elkos made a freshman mistake there.
Well, that's been the story of the game for UB. Too many turnovers early in the game has led Niagara get out to an 8-point lead. On this level, you just can't turn the ball over like that.
Watson comes out to the three-point line to get the ball. Three-pointer partially blocked, and UB comes away with it. Jermaine Young also into the ball game now for Niagara. His first action. Wide open. Offensive foul. Elkoff was wide open on the wing, got Watson to commit, drove by him, and then committed the offensive foul.
Well, Jermaine Young played good help side defense. He came over and just stood his ground and had him drive right into him. And it was just a nice play on Jermaine Young's part.
That gets Leonard Tangashaka. Here it is, a good defense that Bill talked about from Jermaine Young, and Tangashaka comes in for Elkoff. Jermaine Young and Kevin Jobity, by the way, outstanding shooters for Niagara in the center spot. They're 1-2, actually tied for number 1 in the MAC in shooting.
Well, they take good percentage shots, and that's an important key to their game.
Oh, good screen, sets up a shot for Clemens. Can't knock it down, though. O'Connor rebounds. Outlets to Jeremiah Johnson. UB gets the defense back in a hurry. And good anticipation that time by Martino, intercepting a pass intended for O'Connor. Couldn't keep his feet, fell out of bounds with the ball. Tim Cohane wants to see a foul.
He's been yelling the entire game. Since the game started, he's been up yelling at the officials.
Niagara's going to go with a bigger lineup here. Jobity and Young in the game, taking out Chris Watson. So Jermaine Young will play the power forward spot. Bernowski will be in the 3 spot with Jobity at center. Bernowski, a 3 off the screen, won't go. Rebound UB. Nathan Johnson pulled it down, and Martino controls against man-to-man for Niagara. Young gets a step, pops, no good. Rebound controlled by Young. Try to save it to O'Connor and threw it away, threw it at his feet.
Yeah, he was, Jermaine Young was falling out of bounds, and the only thing he could do was throw it into the first white jersey he saw. Jeff O'Connor really didn't have eye contact with him, and he turned his back, and the ball just went out of bounds.
Tim Cohane going into the bench quite a bit, using a big rotation here. Gets Robert Harris back into the ball game, and in a moment we'll see Bernard Wheeler at the next stoppage. Get it inside to Young, off the glass, no good. Ball's on the floor. Jermaine Young is tied up by Rasan Young, and it'll be Niagara ball on the possession.
I'll tell you something, you got to be impressed with Jermaine Young, as big a body as he is, to go on the floor for the ball and work as hard as he does.